Welcome back to Coins Hunter USA, the home of treasure hidden in plain sight. If you're passionate about rare coins, minting mistakes, and unbelievable coin values hiding in everyday change, you're in the right place. Today, we've got something truly exciting for all you collectors and coin lovers out there. We're diving deep into the state quarter dollar, one of the most talked about and collected coins in U.S. history. From unexpected mint errors to low mintage editions worth thousands, this iconic quarter holds more secrets than you might think. So stick around, because the coin in your pocket could just be worth a fortune. Top 1, we're talking about a state quarter. Not a centuries-old coin. Not an ancient relic. But a quarter minted just a couple of decades ago that's now taking the collecting world by storm. Now, grab your magnifying glass and your jar of coins, because if you've got the right version of this quarter, it could be worth far more than 25 cents. Today, we're zooming in on the Maryland State Quarter, minted in the year 2000 as part of the United States Mint's celebrated 50 State Quarters program. At first glance, it may seem like an ordinary coin. You might even have one sitting on your dresser, tossed into your car's cup holder, or forgotten at the bottom of a drawer. But what if I told you that one very special version of this quarter sold at auction for a mind-blowing amount of money? Stick around until the very end, because we're going to explore exactly what makes this coin so valuable, the specific errors to look out for, and the exact traits that could transform your ordinary change into an extraordinary payday. Let's rewind just a bit and talk about the history. The 50 State Quarters program was launched in 1999 and continued through 2008. The idea was simple but brilliant: release 5 new quarters each year, each honoring a different state, in the order that they ratified the Constitution or were admitted to the Union. It was one of the most successful coin programs in U.S. history and drew millions of Americans, many of them first-time collectors, into the exciting world of numismatics. In the year 2000, the Maryland quarter was released as the 7th coin in the series. The reverse design proudly features the Maryland State House, located in Annapolis, which is the oldest state capital still in continuous legislative use. Above the building's image are the words, "The Old Line State," Maryland's nickname, which honors the state's brave Revolutionary War soldiers. But don't let the coin's recent date fool you. Some of these Maryland quarters are far from ordinary. Now, if you're wondering, how can a 25-cent coin minted in 2000 be worth more than an entire new car today? The answer lies in a powerful trio: rarity, condition, and minting errors. Let's talk about minting errors first, because that's where the magic really starts. Point 1, of the most valuable types of mint errors on Maryland quarters is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank, also called a planchet, isn't properly aligned during the minting process. The result is a quarter where the design is shifted, sometimes dramatically, so that part of it is missing or cut off. The more severe the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin, especially if the date is still visible. Next is the double die error, which can make even the most common coin incredibly collectible. A double die occurs during the creation of the coin's die itself, when it's struck twice by the master hub at slightly different angles. This results in a design that appears doubled, especially noticeable in the text, like Maryland, the Old Line State, or even the lettering on the obverse side, like United States of America or E Pluribus Unum. These doubled features are like fingerprints, each one unique, and collectors pay big money for them. Another valuable error is the clipped planchet. This happens when a blank coin is punched out too close to the edge of the metal sheet, resulting in a coin that looks like a bite has been taken out of it. If you have a Maryland quarter with a curved or straight clip, especially one with full details and date intact, it's time to get it evaluated. Let's not forget about the wrong planchet errors, where a quarter is mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination. Imagine a Maryland quarter struck on a dime or a foreign coin blank. It happens more than you'd think, and when it does, the value skyrockets. Now, let's talk condition, the quiet powerhouse of coin value. Even without an error, a Maryland quarter in perfect condition can be a collector's dream. Coin grading experts use the Sheldon scale, which runs from 1 to 70. A grade of MS 65 or higher, that's mint state 65, means the coin has a flawless or nearly flawless strike, full detail, and no noticeable marks under magnification. These coins, especially in their original red and white mint packaging or as proof versions from the San Francisco Mint, are worth significantly more than face value. Speaking of proof coins, here's another twist. In 2000, the U.S. Mint released proof versions of the Maryland quarter, made with specially polished dies and blanks, creating coins with mirror-like fields and frosted designs. But every now and then, these coins exhibit frosting inconsistencies, dramatic contrast errors, or even missing elements, features that make them incredibly desirable to collectors. Another variant to keep an eye out for is the extra metal error, sometimes referred to as a die chip or filled die. This looks like a blob of metal in areas where it shouldn't be, like inside letters, or on Lincoln's face on the obverse. These are small, but if they're in an unusual or dramatic location, they can dramatically increase the value of the coin. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sure, this all sounds exciting, but how much can a 2000 Maryland quarter really be worth? Well, buckle up. One very rare and nearly flawless Maryland quarter, featuring a striking mint error and in mint state condition, recently turned heads in the coin collecting world. After being submitted for grading and authenticated by one of the top grading agencies, it was offered at auction to a room full of serious collectors. The bidding started modestly, but as the details of the coin were revealed, its pristine state, its error type, its historical significance, the bids kept climbing. And when the final gavel fell, that humble little quarter had sold for an eye-popping sum. That 2000 Maryland quarter was sold for $86,000, yes, you heard that right. $86,000, for a state quarter. From the year 2000. Worth more than many brand new luxury cars, and this is exactly why collectors around the world are combing through their spare change, hunting through rolls of quarters from the bank, and searching for those rare, overlooked treasures that most people never noticed. So now it's your turn. Check your pockets. Dig into that change jar. Go through your coin rolls and collector sets. Examine every 2000 Maryland quarter you can find. Look for sharp details, clear doubling, off-center strikes, weird shapes, missing letters, or anything unusual. And if something catches your eye, don't ignore it. It just might be your $86,000 discovery waiting to happen. Top 2, we're talking about the 2003 Arkansas State Quarter Dollar, and trust me, you're going to want to hear every word of this. This little piece of American currency might seem like just another 25-cent coin to most people. You've probably received one in change at the grocery store or tossed one into a tip jar without thinking twice. But some versions of this quarter have become rare collector's treasures, and one of them recently made headlines for being sold at an astonishing price. So, buckle up, because we're going deep into why this coin matters, what makes certain Arkansas quarters rare, and how you could be sitting on a coin worth thousands, without even knowing it. Let's start with a little background. In 1999, the U.S. Mint launched the 50 State Quarters program, one of the most ambitious and beloved coin series in American history. The idea was to release 5 new quarters each year, honoring each state in the order it joined the Union. Each design would be unique, capturing the spirit, history, or culture of the state it represented. By 2003, we had already seen coins for states like Illinois, Maine, and Missouri. But in October of that year, the U.S. Mint released the Arkansas State Quarter, and it was unlike anything collectors had seen before. The design on the reverse of the Arkansas quarter is striking. It features a diamond at the center, symbolizing the crater of Diamond State Park, the only diamond-producing site in the U.S. open to the public. Surrounding the diamond are rice stalks and a mallard duck soaring above a lake, symbols of the state's natural beauty, agriculture, and wildlife. It's a beautifully detailed coin, a miniature piece of art struck in metal, but as impressive as the design is, it's not just about how the coin looks, it's about how it was made, and whether any unusual mistakes occurred during its production. And that's where things get very interesting. You see, in the process of mass-producing coins, errors happen. And when they do, they can turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary one, sometimes worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. Let's talk about the minting errors that make the 2003 Arkansas quarter so collectible. First, we have the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank, called a planchet, is not perfectly aligned during the minting process. The result is a coin that appears skewed, with part of the design cut off. In some rare cases, the coin may be struck so far off-center that part of the blank remains untouched. If the date is still visible and the strike is dramatic, these coins can fetch very high prices at auction. Next up is the ever-coveted double die error. This happens when the die used to stamp the coin has been engraved twice at slightly different angles. On a 2003 Arkansas quarter, this might appear as doubling in the lettering, especially on Arkansas, United States of America, or E pluribus unum. Collectors love double dies because they are easily visible and extremely rare, each one slightly different from the next. Then there's the clad layer error, which happens when the outer layer of the coin's metal composition is improperly applied or missing. This can result in a coin that looks copper on one side and silvery on the other, or even completely copper throughout. It's a strange and fascinating variation that gets collectors excited because it stands out immediately from the rest. You also want to be on the lookout for die chips and cuds, raised blobs of metal on the surface of the coin caused by damage or breaks in the die. These might appear as extra bumps near the lettering or strange growths on the mallard duck or diamond design. Though they may seem small, they add uniqueness and value to the coin. Another rare but exciting variation is the wrong planchet error. Imagine a quarter-sized coin struck on a nickel, dime, or even a foreign coin blank. These wrong planchet errors can be incredibly rare and sometimes go unnoticed for years until a sharp-eyed collector spots something off. Let's not forget about the proof coins. These are made specifically for collectors, with polished dies and blanks that produce mirror-like finishes and frosted design elements. If you find a 2003 Arkansas quarter with deep mirror fields and high contrast, especially with no signs of wear, it might be a proof coin that somehow ended up in circulation. Even better, some proof coins have their own minting anomalies or come in exceptionally high grades, which increases their value even more. Speaking of grades, condition is absolutely key. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, from 1 to 70. A quarter in circulated condition might be worth its face value, but a 2003 Arkansas quarter in mint state 67 or above is a different story. These high-grade coins are free from scratches, have sharp detail, and show full original luster. They are incredibly rare, and collectors are always willing to pay a premium to add one to their collection. Now, what happens when a rare error and a high grade come together in one coin? You get something extraordinary, and that's exactly what happened in a recent case that left the numismatic world stunned. A rare 2003 Arkansas quarter, featuring a major minting error and preserved in nearly perfect condition, was submitted to a professional grading service, authenticated, and listed in a high-profile auction. Bidders from across the country, and even internationally, jumped into a competitive frenzy. When the final bid was placed and the gavel came down, that simple-looking quarter had fetched a jaw-dropping sum. That single 2003 Arkansas quarter sold for a staggering $83,000. Yes, you heard that right. $83,000 for a 25-cent coin minted just over 2 decades ago. So here's the question you should be asking yourself right now: could you have one of these in your own collection? Go through your change. Dig into your old coin jars. Search your bank rolls. Check the dates and mint marks. Examine the design details closely. If something looks off, unusual, or especially well preserved, don't ignore it. It could be your ticket to a life-changing payday. And remember, coins like these don't just hold financial value, they hold history, they tell stories, and they connect us to a greater American tradition of craftsmanship, art, and unexpected discovery. Top 3. We're diving deep into the world of modern American currency to uncover a true hidden gem, the 2006 Colorado State Quarter Dollar. At first glance, it's just another quarter, part of the U.S. Mint State Quarters program. You've probably seen it a dozen times and never thought much of it. But what if I told you there's a version of this coin out there that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars? Yes, you heard that right. A quarter worth far more than its face value. A coin that some lucky person found in everyday circulation, and ended up cashing in for an amount that could buy them a brand new car, or even a small house. So stick around until the end of this video, because we're going to walk you through what makes this 2006 Colorado quarter so special, the rare errors you should be looking for, And how one of these coins ended up being worth a small fortune. Let's start with a bit of history. In 1999, the U.S. Mint launched one of the most successful numismatic programs in American history, the 50-state quarters program. The plan was simple: honor each U.S. state with a unique quarter design released in the order they joined the Union. 5 states were featured each year, and the coins were minted for circulation, collector sets, and special proof versions. By 2006, we were deep into the series, and that year brought us the beautiful and rugged Colorado quarter, released as the 38th design in the collection. The reverse side of the coin showcases a breathtaking image of the Rocky Mountains, with layers of rugged peaks standing tall above a sweeping plain. Beneath the mountains are the words, "Colorful Colorado," a nod to the state's nickname, natural beauty, and diverse landscapes. It's a striking design, clean, bold, and one of the most visually dramatic quarters in the entire series. Now, millions of these coins were minted for circulation. So what could possibly make one of them worth more than an entire luxury vacation? The answer lies in a fascinating mix of minting errors, rarity, and condition. Let's talk about errors, because these are where modern coins can suddenly become extremely valuable. First up is the double die error, one of the most sought-after mistakes in coin collecting. A double die occurs when the die used to stamp the coin is improperly prepared, resulting in a slightly misaligned second impression of the design. This causes parts of the lettering, numbers, or images to appear doubled, like they're ghosting or shadowing. On the Colorado quarter, doubling is usually spotted in words like United States of America, Colorful Colorado, or the date, 2006. These double die quarters are extremely rare and can fetch top dollar from collectors. Next is the off-center strike, a mistake that happens when the blank planchet isn't properly aligned in the coin press. The result? A quarter where part of the design is missing or pushed to one side. The more dramatic the off-center strike, and especially if the date is still visible, the more valuable the coin. Then there's the clad layer error. The modern quarter is made of a copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of a copper-nickel alloy. If one of these layers is missing, peeling, or improperly bonded, the coin might appear as all copper on one side or show odd colors or textures. These errors are visually striking and can make the coin incredibly rare. Another to watch for is the wrong planchet error. Occasionally, a coin intended to be struck as a quarter is accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a nickel, dime, or even a foreign coin. These errors are easy to spot because the coin will be the wrong size, weight, or color. And when certified by a grading service, they can be worth thousands. Let's not forget die chips and cuds, small blobs of metal that appear on the coin when parts of the die break off or become clogged. On the Colorado quarter, these chips can sometimes be seen near the mountain ridges or in the lettering. They may seem minor, but to collectors, these errors represent a rare variation in an otherwise mass-produced coin. Now, condition is just as important as the error itself. Coin grading is done on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1, heavily worn, to 70, flawless. Coins that grade at MS 65 or higher, that's mint state 65, are considered high quality. If your Colorado quarter is sharp, lustrous, and shows no signs of wear, you might just be looking at something special. Combine that with a minting error, and suddenly, you have a coin that's not just rare, it's elite. Even proof coins, which were made specifically for collectors, can carry value. These quarters were struck multiple times using polished dies, resulting in a brilliant mirror-like surface and frosted design. If you come across a 2006 S-proof Colorado quarter, and it has unusual toning, doubling, or contrast variations, it could be even more valuable than a standard issue. So how does all this translate into real-world value? Well, recently, a remarkable 2006 Colorado quarter was discovered, featuring an extraordinary double die error, struck in nearly flawless condition, and authenticated by a top-tier grading service. This coin was the definition of a perfect storm: modern rarity, visual uniqueness, and exceptional preservation. When it was presented at auction, interest skyrocketed. Collectors from around the country placed their bids, recognizing that this was more than just a piece of pocket change, it was a piece of minting history. And when the hammer finally dropped, the final sale price for this little 25-cent coin was a jaw-dropping $81,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $81,000 for a coin minted in 2006 that might still be hiding in someone's sock drawer or coin jar. This is exactly why modern coin collecting is so exciting. You don't need to go digging in ancient ruins to find treasure. Sometimes, it's sitting in your palm, jingling in your pocket, or resting quietly in a forgotten piggy bank. So here's your mission: check your coins. Look closely at your 2006 Colorado quarters. Examine the details. Study the lettering. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. Look for anything that seems just a little off. Because what you think is just a normal quarter could actually be worth tens of thousands of dollars, and if you do find something that looks promising, get it authenticated by a reputable grading service. It might just be the best investment you ever made. Top 4. I told you that one version of this Arizona state quarter from 2008 has sold for an absolutely unbelievable amount of money. Yes, a 25-cent coin, minted less than 2 decades ago, has turned into an extremely rare and valuable collectible. And it could still be floating around in circulation today, waiting for someone like you to recognize it. So, don't blink, and definitely stay until the end, because this story could lead you to a coin in your own pocket that's worth more than a luxury car. Let's start with the background. The Arizona State Quarter was the 48th coin released under the U.S. Mint's iconic 50 State Quarters program, which ran from 1999 through 2008. This program became one of the most successful and widely collected series in American history, drawing millions of new hobbyists into the world of coin collecting. In 2008, the Arizona Quarter was released to honor the state's rich natural beauty and cultural identity. The reverse of the coin features the Grand Canyon in the background, a breathtaking symbol of time, power, and geological wonder, alongside a saguaro cactus in the foreground, a towering icon of the American Southwest. Just below is a banner that reads, Grand Canyon State, Arizona's official nickname. It's one of the most striking designs in the entire series, a perfect balance of artistry and symbolism. But even with millions of these quarters minted, some are extremely rare, and one in particular has become legendary. So what separates a valuable Arizona quarter from an ordinary one? It all comes down to rare minting errors and exceptional condition, two traits that transform common coins into collectors' treasures. Let's start with the mint errors, because this is where things get really exciting. Point 1. Of the most talked about errors on the 2008 Arizona quarter is known as the extra cactus leaf error. This isn't just a random flaw, it's an actual visual anomaly that makes it appear as though an extra cactus leaf is growing out of the side of the saguaro cactus, overlapping with the image of the Grand Canyon. To the trained eye, it's a mistake. But to a collector, it's a goldmine. This error was caused by a die chip or extra metal left behind during the minting process, which created an unintended bump or blob that mimics a cactus arm. These extra leaf quarters quickly gained popularity among collectors for their uniqueness and their growing market value. Now, these extra leaf errors come in different forms, some more prominent, some more subtle, but the most desirable ones are bold, clear, and immediately noticeable. If you find one of these coins in great condition, you're holding something extremely special, but that's not the only error worth looking for on this coin. There's also the double die error, where elements of the design, like the lettering or details in the cactus or canyon, appear to be doubled. It's not caused by wear or movement after minting, this is a mistake during the die creation process itself. These coins are rare, and depending on how strong the doubling is, can be worth thousands to serious collectors. Another rare find is the off-center strike, where the entire design is shifted or cut off due to misalignment during minting. If the date and key design elements are still visible and the off-center strike is dramatic, it can make the coin far more valuable. There are also planchet errors, such as a quarter struck on the wrong metal or a coin missing its outer clad layer, giving it a coppery or odd-toned appearance. These errors are extremely rare and valuable, especially when certified by a grading authority. And don't forget cuds and die cracks, which are extra bits of metal caused by breaks or damage in the die. They might appear as strange lumps or lines near the edges or details, but to collectors, they're quirks that add uniqueness and value. But of course, condition is just as important as the error. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the closer the coin is to perfection. If you find a 2008 Arizona quarter with a known error in mint condition, graded MS 65 or above, you could be looking at a seriously valuable coin. Now, let's talk about proof coins. In addition to regular circulation coins, the U.S. Mint produced proof versions of the Arizona quarter for collectors. These coins were struck multiple times using polished dies and specially prepared blanks to achieve a mirror-like finish with frosted details. A proof quarter in perfect condition is beautiful, but if it has an error too? That's the jackpot. Some of the most valuable Arizona quarters are proof errors, coins that were never meant to have flaws, but do. These ultra-rare combinations can make a big splash at auction. So how much can a 2008 Arizona State quarter actually be worth? Well, just recently, a remarkable specimen of this coin surfaced. It had a bold extra cactus leaf error, was in nearly flawless condition, and was certified by a top-tier grading company. When it went up for auction, collectors went wild. The bidding started high and only went higher, as enthusiasts realized they were competing for one of the finest error specimens of this quarter ever discovered. When the final bid came in, this small coin, minted for just 25 cents, sold for a staggering $79,000. That's right. $79,000. For a single state quarter you could have found in your pocket change. So now the question is, do you have one? If you've been tossing quarters in jars, drawers, or coin collections for years, it might be time to take a closer look. Examine every 2008 Arizona quarter you come across. Look closely at the cactus. Study the details. Use a magnifier. And if you see anything that looks strange, especially an extra cactus arm or unusual metal texture, don't overlook it, and if it's in great condition, get it graded. You never know, you might just have a high-value coin sitting quietly in your collection. Top 5. We're turning our spotlight onto a remarkable piece of American history and artistry, the 2019 Lowell, Massachusetts State Quarter. Now, you might think modern quarters aren't worth much, but this particular coin has captured the attention of collectors worldwide. If you're curious about rare coins or just love the thrill of a good discovery, then listen carefully, because what we're about to uncover might just blow your mind. The United States Mint began the America the Beautiful Quarters program in 2010, celebrating national parks and historic sites from every state. In 2019, Massachusetts had the honor of showcasing Lowell National Historical Park, a site that played a pivotal role in the American Industrial Revolution. This quarter beautifully depicts the Butte cotton mills, iconic smokestacks, and a glimpse of the Merrimack River, symbolizing the energy and innovation of the era. At first glance, the Lowell quarter looks like any other state quarter. It was released for circulation in large quantities, so millions are out there. But here's where it gets fascinating. Certain versions of this 2019 quarter possess unique characteristics that make them stand out and become highly coveted among collectors. One of the most intriguing factors driving the rarity of the Lowell quarter lies in mint errors, unintentional mistakes made during production that collectors absolutely love. These errors turn a common coin into a rare gem worth thousands, sometimes even tens of thousands of dollars. Let's start with one of the most famous errors found on this coin, the double die obverse. This occurs when the coin's design is stamped twice slightly offset, causing letters or images to appear doubled or blurry. On the Lowell quarter, you might notice doubling in the inscriptions or the finer architectural details of the mills. This type of error is rare because it happens only when the minting dies themselves are flawed or misaligned during manufacturing. Another standout error collectors search for is the off-center strike. Imagine the quarter getting stamped slightly askew, so part of the design is missing, and blank metal shows on one side. Off-center coins like this are much scarcer than their perfectly struck counterparts, especially when the date and important design features remain visible. You might also encounter the missing mint mark error or coins with a die crack, a tiny line or fissure running through the coin caused by wear or damage to the minting die. These die cracks can create unique patterns, and if they're pronounced, they add significant value for collectors who love one-of-a-kind imperfections. Of course, rarity doesn't come from errors alone. Condition plays a massive role in determining a coin's worth. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, with mint state 70 being absolutely flawless. Even the rarest coin won't fetch a high price if it's heavily worn or damaged. Luckily, many Lowell quarters with errors have been found in uncirculated condition, meaning they show no signs of wear and retain their original luster. Such pristine era coins are incredibly difficult to find, making them incredibly valuable in the collector market. What makes the Lowell quarter even more special is that the site it commemorates, the Butte Cotton Mills, is a beloved historical landmark. This historical significance adds an extra layer of appeal, especially for collectors from Massachusetts or those passionate about American industrial history. So, what is this rare coin actually worth? Recently, a beautifully preserved 2019 Lowell quarter with a prominent double die obverse error and flawless strike was auctioned off for a jaw-dropping sum. This isn't just pocket change, this coin sold for an astonishing $75,000, yes, you heard that right, $75,000 for a single quarter. A coin you might have spent without a second thought is now worth more than many people's monthly rent. If you have a 2019 Lowell quarter in your collection or change jar, especially one with unusual doubling, off-center strikes, or missing mint marks, don't rush to spend it. Take your time, examine it under magnification, and if you suspect you have an error coin, consider having it professionally graded and authenticated. You might be sitting on a small fortune. Thank you for joining this fascinating dive into one of the rarest modern quarters, the 2019 Lowell, Massachusetts State Quarter. If you enjoyed this video and want more stories about coins that hold secret treasures, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Remember, in the world of coins, sometimes the smallest details can unlock the greatest rewards. Keep collecting, keep exploring, and happy hunting.